never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate.
So good evening, ladies and gents. This is Chris for Chris India and Chris Diary 07. This will be my last video on the Ladakh series 2022. The first part of this video would deal with my experiences during this road trip. Second part would be dealing with the expenditures that I incurred, fuel, stay, and miscellaneous. The third part of this video would deal with suggestions that I could advise people who plan to undertake such a road trip in the near future for themselves. So coming to the first part of this video, which is my experience. Starting with the first leg of this journey, which was Mumbai to Jaipur, the road was overall pretty good. It took me, I think, around 2 hours extra, assuming, I was driving around the speeds between 90 to 110 kilometers per hour. The overall stretch of this route, Mumbai to Jaipur, was pretty good. There were some parts on the road which towards the end, when reaching Jaipur, was not so good. The road was very bad. As you may see in the first episode, at some places there was no road. So I would suggest that people take the Mumbai to Ajmer route and then head on to Jaipur. That would be a little bit much better route, because that's the route I took on the way back to Mumbai, which was from Ajmer to Mumbai. I did that stretch. So that road was really good. The second part of the journey, which was from Jaipur to Manali, the GPS, I remember, had said 17 hours overall for this stretch. However, the road was not so good here. There were some parts when the GPS failed. There was no reception on Google Maps. There was no reception on the phone, so I lost coverage. However, I had a hard copy of the map, the Indian map, which I'd carried. So using that map, I could find out and triangulate exactly roughly where I was on this journey, so I could continue my journey, because there is no one on these roads at beyond 10 p.m. in the night. You will find no one to ask for directions. And I was driving on these roads right from 4:30 in the morning when I left Jaipur, and I reached Manali next morning, I think around 6:30. So I did make a break for a short power nap around 1.5 hours at a petrol pump. I would suggest, if you all ever plan to stop on unknown roads, try and find a petrol pump, halt there, take a few wings, and then continue with your journey. The next part of the stretch was Manali to Leh. Now this part needs to be covered ideally in two legs, in two parts, which was, so my first part was Manali to Sarchu, which I went via the Atal Tunnel, not the Rohtang Pass. I went via Atal Tunnel. Sarchu is a plateau, and it's at a pretty high altitude. That's where I started having AMS, where the rear of my head and neck started paining, and eye soreness. However, I managed to check into a tent. There are a lot of tents available there for people, and you can check in, and I think per bed they charge you, I think, around rupees 100. That's it, rupees 200, sorry. And if you want to book the whole tent, then it would be around 1,000 rupees, which is also feasible. So if you all are family, you all can book a whole tent, and it can hold up to around 5 to 6 people at one time. Next to these tents are also their local small dabas, so you can avail of food right up to 11 p.m. So if at all you have to, if at all it's late in the evening, I would suggest you all to stop at Sarchu, because beyond Sarchu for quite some distance, there is no other place or anything available where you could lodge for the night, where you could stay for the night. There is no accommodation, there are no hotels, there are no dhabas along the way. Sarchu to Pang is 64 kilometers, and that stretch is literally lonely. There are no shops, not even for a tire repair, not even for buying a Bisleri bottle. There are no shops. There is some stretches of the road where there are no roads. It's literally sandy and muddy roads. So just be aware that if at all it is late in the evening and it's dark, I would suggest you all to stop at Sarchu. And next day, early morning, leave for Pang and Leh onwards. So when I reached Leh, the next day I drove from Sarchu to Leh. So the stretch of Sarchu to Pang, as I mentioned earlier, was pretty bad. However, after you reach Pang and you cross Pang, the roads are pretty doable. But you come to the 21 Gata loops. Those 21 Gata loops, the road is pretty narrow. So you need to be careful because there is two-way traffic moving up and down. And I would suggest that the turns are pretty sudden. So whenever you're approaching a turn or going down, going up a turn, always make sure you're honking. If it's late in the evening, also use your headlights to flash because it is two-way traffic and it is dangerous. So once you cross Pang, the roads are really good. Pang to Leh was a breeze, and when I reached Leh, I stopped at Hotel Taj Ladakh. It's a pretty reasonable place to stay. The overall cost of that was, I got it at a discount, I think around rupees 1,900. So there you have buffet dinner, you have a Wi-Fi facility, and the hotel manager Deldin is very helpful. You can check this out on booking.com. So I mentioned that in video 3, in episode 3 of this series. You can have the details in that video. Leh to Kargil was a pretty easy stretch, 221 kilometers. It was GPS said around 6 hours, but as I mentioned earlier, from Sarchu to Kargil, literally I was on 2.5 days of having this phase out with regards to my neck paining, severe neck pain and headache and eye soreness. I was literally driving on 65 to 63% of oxygen. So it was a horrendous journey. I had to literally focus and stay zoned in because there are windy roads and you cannot afford to zone out there. So I would suggest that anyone doing the Manali to Leh stretch, always try and pick up oxygen cylinder. Oxy 99 is good. They will give you with oxygen mask. So the cylinder comes around 600 rupees. The oxygen mask is I think around 200 rupees. So 600 and 200, 800 rupees is nothing. Trust me, it will help you avoid a lot of stress and strain on your body and mind. So pick this up in Manali and head on for your journey towards Leh if you all are doing the Manali to Leh stretch. Also carry Diamox tablets. I had carried Diamox tablets, but as I mentioned in the episode that I had misplaced them at Sarchu, so I didn't really have them with me. Another thing is I would suggest that you take your time to acclimatize. Once you reach Sarchu, I think probably stay there for a day or two. I did not even stay there for a day. So I reached Sarchu in the evening and next morning around 6:30 I left for Leh. I left for Leh to continue my journey. So I would say take a day or two there to acclimatize and pace your journey in such a way that you do not stress it, because AMS is a serious thing and breathing is a serious issue. You need oxygen for proper function of your brain and other organs and even the lungs, so that lungs do not build up in your fluid doesn't build up in your lungs. So I would suggest pace out your journey if you're doing the Manali to Leh stretch in such a way that you have enough of time to acclimatize, at least 2 days or minimum 1 day, and preferably 2 days if you can at each place once you are crossing Sarchu, because it is going to take a toll on your body. Another thing is doing this Manali to Leh stretch alone is not advisable unless you are absolutely sure that you can back yourself. You are able to say to yourself that okay, no matter what, I am going to see this through. Unless you are carrying enough of spares for your vehicle, you know your vehicle well, you know your whole wiring diagram well, you know your if you've carried enough of basic vehicle spares like belts and brake oil and coolant and an air pump or something. I will always suggest you to carry, which you can just connect to the electric socket, the cigarette lighter socket in the car, and inflate your tires, because there is no tire shop on these stretches. It is lonely. If you have a breakdown there and you're already suffering with any medical issue or AMS, God help you. So if possible, avoid doing this stretch alone. I reached Kargil, the army base there. Those guys literally gave me an oxygen cylinder and an injection. Prior to giving me an oxygen fire cylinder, they gave me an injection for helping me out with regards to my breathing. So I was literally in a bad shape when I did reach Kargil. So all I would say is before concluding this part is that if at all you guys are doing the stretch of Manali to Leh, make sure you carry an oxygen cylinder, or based on the number of people are traveling with you, carry as many oxygen cylinders that you think you would need, oxygen mask, and Diamox tablets. Also, try and pace your journey out in such a way that you'll have at least 2 days to acclimatize at these high altitude areas. Coming to cellular network, so I had a Jio prepaid connection, a Vodafone prepaid, and a Vodafone postpaid connection. On all these three cellular network providers, I had lost network at Sarchu. So wherever I had network was basically at any of the hotels where I was checking in to stay via Wi-Fi. There was no calling network, no GSM network. So the only network providers that would have network in these areas is or rather are Airtel postpaid and Jio postpaid connections. Besides this, you will not get network on any other cellular provider. If you guys know or are aware of any other cellular providers that give network in the regions between Sarchu to Kargil and Srinagar and Jammu, do leave your comments in the section below. That would help of other people and even me in future. Then, so the thing is, when I lost network at Sarchu, I got network on my phones after I completed the whole circuit and reached Pathankot on the other side. So Pathankot was actually where I got network on my cell phone once again. So please keep in mind that cellular network is important, because if you are traveling alone or if you're traveling with just another person and you lose network, you have a breakdown, or you are feeling very, very ill or sick, trust me, not having network on your phone is not a good idea. Coming back to the second part of this video is the expenses. So if I remember correctly, the expense at hotel Tej, which was at Jaipur, on my onward journey from Mumbai to Jaipur, where I made the overnight stop, which was the hotel Tej. It's a RTDC, which is a Rajasthan tourist, which is by the Rajasthan Tourist Department. So there, my expenditure was 1,050 rupees per day. So I had stayed there for 1 day and checked out next day early morning. So that was the amount I paid. They have a decent canteen or cafeteria that you can eat food. However, the food was not very tasty, which I had, to be frank, but hygiene was there. So I would suggest you that if you stay here and you eat in their restaurant, stick to Indian food. That will be better. Then the next place that I stayed was at Hotel KD, which was at Manali. The tariff at this hotel was rupees 3,000 per day, and you don't need AC and stuff. So they did not have a restaurant here. This hotel has newly come up, so their restaurant is there, but it was not in operations. So I had to eat out. That expenditure came to around roughly, I think that day was around 550 rupees, which was for me and my friend together. So our total bill was 550 rupees. Hotel KD International has a lot of parking, so if at all you do take your car there or a four-wheeler, you will not fall short of parking. It is safe. Parking is safe. The hotel staff are good, and overall it was a good experience. Good quality interiors of the hotel. The third hotel where I stayed was Hotel Taj Ladakh, which was at Leh, because Sarchu had stayed at the tent, and I already told you that the price of the tent was 200 rupees per bed. So I will You can note that if you want. However, the next main expenditure was for the hotel. With regards to the hotel, I'm giving you all the hotel expenditures first. So the main expenditure for the hotel was at Leh Hotel Taj Ladakh, which is available on booking.com. So there I had paid rupees 1800, 50 with GST and inclusive taxes. I got this at a discount for certain reasons, and the hotel, again, the bedroom, the facilities are absolutely fabulous. They have a buffet dinner, so for buffet it's just around 300 rupees extra. I won't even count that because 300 rupees for the quality of food that they give is really good. And next morning also the breakfast was good. The hotel management staff were excellent. As I said, even in episode 3, when I mentioned episode 4, where it's on my previous video about my stay at Hotel Taj Ladakh, the hotel manager Delvin was really helpful. He had given me another set of Dimox tablets, and that's why again he had checked my oxygen level on the oximeter, and that's why I got a note for 63%. So from Sarchu to Kargil, I was driving between 65 to 62% roughly. He was very helpful. The people are good, and again you have adequate amount of parking. The hygiene levels, the room hygiene, the sanitation, everything is excellent. So anyone landing or planning to stay in Leh can check this hotel out and have a wonderful stay there. Now when I left from Leh to Kargil, I stayed at the army base there. I cannot give you further details based on this. However, the stay, I didn't have to pay for stay there. My experience at the army base was wonderful. I mean, the food, the quality of food, and everything was absolutely A grade. And I had also gone to meet a course mate there. So basically we met after around 20 years. So that meeting was wonderful. Had a wonderful time there, and the view of what was available from that area is excellent. When I had entered Kargil city, it was around 6:30 p.m. and as I mentioned earlier in this video, I had no cellular network, so no GPS, no maps. So the only way I could ask around was asking the local people around for a few directions, and the local people are very helpful there. Traffic was not so much considering it was around 6:30 p.m. and most cities in India the traffic is a lot. Just make sure that when you ask people, the locals around there, you make sure that you pronounce the place where you want to go or the destination correctly, because I made a mix-up between Iqbal Bridge and Akbal Bridge. So based on that, people will advise you. So make sure your pronunciations are correct, and they will help you accordingly. After I left Kargil, I had visited the Kargil War Memorial. Now, this place is wonderful because the aura, the vibe of it is very positive. You feel people are not dead, the martyrs are not dead. There's a saying, legends never die. So you actually feel that there, After I left the Kargil War Memorial, I thought I would drive to probably Jammu. However, I made a stop at Banihal in Kashmir. So I stayed at the JK TDC Hotel Alpine. That's the commercial name. It's run by the JK Jammu and Kashmir Tourism Department Center, and that stay is wonderful. The place there, their property is good. Parking is safe. The stay is safe. Food is available on site and very reasonable. I remember I had rajma and rice for dinner there. It was really tasty. The hotel manager Gauss Mohammed was very helpful. Made friends with him, and memories. So the day I was checking out, he even offered me a free breakfast. However, I didn't eat. I just had a tea there, and I think I remember he even clicked 2-3 pictures of mine. So very helpful people, a wonderful stay, good vibe. When I left there, a few kilometers after Hotel Alpine, coming towards Amritsar, I got caught up in a landslide at the Baniyal Pass. So that's where a lot of time was wasted, around 3 hours. I thought when I left Hotel Alpine, I thought I'd drive to Amritsar, but I did not know what really was in store, because when I reached Amritsar, I was really alert and not sleepy, so I decided to drive to Jaipur. So Punjab and Haryana, it was raining very heavily, and I did not stop on the way, so there was no expense of stoppage between Hotel Alpine in Kashmir till I reached Ajmer. So when I reached Ajmer, it was the RTDC Hotel Kadim, and the stay here was for 2 days, 1980 for 2 days. So this being government handled was again pretty reasonable. 1980 for 2 days, I don't think is costly. They have a decent hotel there, a decent restaurant and an eating area, and they also have a bar, so people who drink can avail of a drink or anything there. The facilities, well, basic room, TV. I chose one with the AC, and it was a decent hotel. I mean, overall, in terms of lodging, parking again was not an issue. Enough of parking, safety for yourself and your vehicle was not an issue. So Ajmer was a memorable stay. However, if you stay at this Hotel Kadim in Ajmer, 15 or 13 or 15 kilometers away from here is Pushkar. So do make it a point to visit Pushkar. It's a popular tourist attraction site. I did not have time, and I was pretty tired because I had driven from Kashmir to Rajasthan almost 13.5 hours on the road. So I had decided to stay indoors as much as possible. Also, it was raining heavily those 2 days. And that's about it with regards to my expenses in terms of staying. So I'll just give you a brief summary of the expenses in terms of the stay part. So Hotel Tej at Jaipur was 1,050. KD International at Manali 3,000. Then Leh was I think 1,980. Hotel Kadim at Ajmer, at Hotel Alpine at the JKTDC was a pretty reasonable price. I think 1,080 or something. Let me just check that. 1,400 with taxes. 1,400 with taxes. And then Hotel Kadim at Ajmer was 1,980 for 2 days. So I think the total overall cost was around 6,000 rupees, 6,500 rupees, which is pretty reasonable on such a long journey. And now coming to the fuel expenses, my toll was inside 8,000 rupees, 8,000 rupees, the whole toll, the whole Mumbai to from Mumbai to Kargil and back to Mumbai, the whole stretch was inside 8,000 rupees, and no hidden charges with regards to the toll. There were many places where toll was not charged, but wherever I did pay toll, it was the whole price was inside 8,000 rupees. My total fuel costs actually surprised me because the Safari has a 65-liter tank capacity, and so my first fuel fill was in Mumbai, and second was at Jaipur, third was at Tandi, a little bit ahead of Manali, because Tandi to Leh there is no petrol pump for around 360 kilometers. So make sure that you always top up your fuel at Tandi. So that was the third stop of fuel. Fourth was at fourth was at Kargil. Kargil, the prices are very low in terms of for diesel and petrol. So Kargil, the price was the fuel price was very less. So Kargil was my fourth stop, and fifth was at Ajmer. Fifth was a little bit before Jaipur. My fifth fuel stop was a little bit before Jaipur, and the final fuel stop was somewhere at Vadodara, just very close to Mumbai. So I think around 6 fuel stops, and the total fuel cost came to around literally 26,000. That's it, and I'm not joking, 26,000 rupees. I'm not counting the cost of I'm not counting an expense like a car wash at Chandigarh. The car wash at Chandigarh which I did was roughly 300 rupees. So those kind of expenses are not counted because that was just one of our expense. So the cost of a car wash is literally negligible in this kind of a trip. So 4,480. 4,651, 2,600. This was where my fuel tank was just quarterly used up. So I had 3/4 amount of fuel is still in my tank. So that's why this price was pretty low, 2,600. 3,780. This was where I put 43.4 liters of fuel. 3,292 was paid at the Lahore Potato Society pump. And finally, Vadodara, as I said earlier, 4,820. And this one is again 3,969. So the total fuel cost for this whole journey came to rounded up to 25,000, and I did not have to spend for any kind of other lubricants like coolant or anything. Not even coolant was required for my car to be topped up, because when I returned to Mumbai, the coolant level, brake oil, everything was as good as not used, literally. So the Safari performed really well at high altitude. In terms of performance of the Safari, I would say that a 16-year-old vehicle performing extremely well was pretty surprising even to me. I have maintained that vehicle really well. Had checked the vehicle the vehicle thoroughly, and made sure that there were no open ends or loose ends, and complete vehicle check, underbody check, belts, timing belts, engine performance, steady meter, the air filter, everything was checked. Suspension was checked before going, electrical wiring diagrams, wiring system, AC. So the car was completely checked for around 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, and she behaved like a wonderful partner, literally reliable. And I'm surprised, I was surprised that the car did not even need a coolant top off. So there were a lot of people along the route who were surprised that I literally got such an old vehicle for this road trip, and that too solo. So many people were in awe. I made a lot of friends along the way. So there's a saying, you don't travel with friends, but you make friends along the way. So this was pretty true for my road trip this time. I didn't travel with any friend except from the Jaipur to Manali stretch where my friend, she accompanied me there. But overall, the literally 5,800 kilometers was all alone. And I did make quite a few friends along the way, exchanged numbers, and I am in touch with them. So that was a wonderful experience. Safari at high altitude faced no issue in climbing. 3000cc engine, minus a 3-liter vehicle, so I did not really feel any strain or any issue in climbing, rough roads, nothing. It just took them as it came. What do I say? Old is gold, and there's a saying, "Juta Bata ka or Loa Tata ka." So that's true for this vehicle. And coming to the third part of this video is the suggestions. So very few. I would say that if you're doing the Manali to Leh stretch, be prepared for brutal adventure. Try not to do the stretch solo. Try and at least take a person along with you who could drive, or at least a person or a friend along with you. Dates were not matching for me, so I decided to do it alone because it was now or never. So mine was maybe a different circumstance. And make sure you carry the oxygen cylinders, as I mentioned in the first part of this video. Make sure you carry the oxygen cylinders and Dimox tablets and the oxygen mask for yourself, and based on accordingly how many number of people you're traveling with. So do not compromise on that. Do not overestimate or rather underestimate nature and its strength. Nature is a pretty weird way of leveling you. So I've been to such high altitude areas many times before. The only difference is I overestimated myself in terms of being able to acclimatize with barely a few hours of stopping, when actually even you need to at least stay, as I said, minimum 2 days at a place and then acclimatize effectively to a high altitude region. In fact, even the army spends around 6 days of they have a whole process of minimum 6 days of acclimatization process, which they do when units change duty at high altitude areas. So few suggestions would be: check your vehicle, carry basic spares for your vehicle, timing belts, AC belts, alternator belts, fan belts, brake oil, and air pump. Air pump is absolutely necessary and non-negotiable. Carry that. Coolant. Carry a lot of water bottles in your vehicle. Make sure you carry, if possible. I had also carried a hydraulic jack with me, so it would be easy to jack up the car in case I needed to change a tire or something. Also, a hydraulic jack will also give you a lever in case your car is stuck. So you jack it up with a hydraulic jack and get it and try and pull it out, or put the car in drive mode and move it out. It has worked many times in the past for me. So I would suggest, if you can carry a hydraulic jack, carry a hydraulic jack. Carry a weapon. I had carried a few weapons because if at all you're traveling alone, it's your safety which is prior. So I think don't compromise on that. Carry a weapon along. And if you're doing this in the months of winter or when it's cold, carry warm clothing based on the time of travel. I think up till May, June, it's pretty cold up there. So I would say for normal people, I think you should carry a sweater or a winter jacket. It will help you. Carry a lot of sweets and garlic. Garlic helps you in terms of at high altitude areas. And another thing is, as I said earlier, please carry a postpaid connection of Airtel or Jio. Prepaid connections will not work there. And well, that's about it. If you guys have any other suggestions, please feel free to leave your comments below or ask anything. If I'm aware of it, I will answer. And if I get to know anything new from you people, I'm sure it will benefit me. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Please subscribe to my channels, and Godspeed. Take care.
Got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.